Hello, everyone. Welcome to People Matters webinar, SHRPA Talent Talk, this one with a special focus on the Middle East region. I am Cheshta Dora, Head of Research and Content at People Matters, and I'm glad to be hosting this webinar for you today. In a world where change has become so frequent and ongoing, leaders who can actually see disruptions as opportunities are often the ones who can steer their companies toward greater heights. The Sherpa State of the HR Industry Report, Middle East Insights, found that for over 98% of HR leaders surveyed in the region recently, building the right leaders is the top challenge with the greatest potential impacting the business. And interestingly, for over 52% of HR leaders in the region, leadership development emerges as one of the top investment areas in the HR technology as well. That is pretty great number to be working towards, actually. But also, on the other hand, these trends are not very surprising as major economies in the region, especially across the GCC countries, are still caught in the tailwind of evolving global market conditions, a strong focus on the transition to non energy sectors, and demographic shifts have created uncertainty. So, after looking at the HR and talent challenges across regions like Pacific, ANZ, India, even Southeast Asia, the People Matter Sherpa Talent Talk is proud to bring its deep dive webinar discussion exclusively for the Middle East on the topic, the new leadership paradigm. We hope to bring you strategies, insights, and best practices to decode the future of leadership in the region and help you increase the success rate of building transformative leaders. And for that, we have a stellar panel with us today. Bringing you to the panel, first one, of course, is Man Fatani, Group Vice President of HR and Shared Services, Middle East Paper Company. Hello, Man. It's great to have you with us today.
Hello.
Welcome, Man. A little bit about him. Man is an accomplished HR leader with extensive experience in leading and driving transformation from the top of the corporate ladder to the execution level and the front line, with hands on experience in all HR functions. He comes with 20 plus years of experience in different org sizes and industries, including healthcare, FMCG, oil and gas, building materials, paperboard production, and waste management. He's a well seasoned coach and a strong believer in talent development with a focus on increasing shareholder value, sustainable development, and operational efficiencies. It's an honor to have you today, Man.
Hello. Can
Man,
you
are
hear
you able
me?
to hear? Yes, we can hear you, Man. Wonderful. So, the second speaker we have today is Walid Al Rashid, a senior leader, people development at a government entity.
Hi, nice to meet you. It is my pleasure to be with you in this webinar, and I hope our audience will gain the fruitful from attending this webinar.
Wonderful. Thank you so much for joining us today, Walid. A little bit about Walid as well. He brings over 15 years of expertise in HR and business transformation, demonstrating his ability as a strategic thinker in navigating complex HR environments. His in depth knowledge of HR operating models and M&A strategies has driven the success of numerous HR and business transformations. Walid's career spans across government, semi governmental, private sectors, providing him with a comprehensive grasp of industry specific challenges and also opportunities. And Walid is also a leadership coach and an official assessor of government capabilities building and leadership development. With such a stellar experience, we welcome you here today, Walid.
My pleasure. Thank you.
Great. And last but not the least, wonderful Zainab Magharabi, leader of capability, strategy, and transformation from Saudi Geological Survey.
Yes, hi. Hope to enjoy this webinar and let us start and to see what is the insight that we can provide. Thank you.
Beautiful, beautiful. A little bit about Zainab as well. She comes with over 17 years of experience in composing and executing strategy plans and policies, and also propelling new standardization initiatives and procedures to improve overall origination methodologies and procedures at the Saudi Geological Survey. He has successfully remodeled organizational structures by analyzing workforce requirements, designing talent management processes, implementing new cost allocation system, and also reviewing corporate policies and procedures, which resulted in a comprehensive 3-year long HR plan and clear financial planning. She strives to achieve optimum results in every facet of HR function in terms of quality performance, budgeting, implementation, and compliance. That's amazing. A very warm welcome again to each one of you. It's an honor to have you all for our discussion today. Great. So I think without further ado, let's get started on our discussion. The very first question, I would like to give you a little bit context on the Sherpa study. So as we heard in the report, we found that over 98% of leaders say leadership development is a top challenge for Middle East. According to you, what are the unique leadership challenges faced by businesses in the Middle East that make this challenge the highest rated across Asia Pacific today? Walid will like to start with you.
Yeah, I think the challenge coming from the business outlook, because there is dramatic change in the business outlook. Because I used to work in the business, so my experience is very diversified between HR and business. I think leader in the organization, they need to deal with two type of customer: external customers and internal customers. So with the growth in the consumer market, based on the report, it shows there is diverse consumer base, because in the MENA, normally you deal with different background of the customers in terms of the cultures, values, background. So leader in the organization, when they need to go global, they need to understand the consumer persona. So, and this is one of the challenge, to understand different background of the consumer. So different market, they have different needs. If the leaders in the organization, they don't have the global mindset, I think they will face many of challenge in running the operating model. So I think they need a global mindset in order to deal with diverse consumers. This is one of the challenge which faced in organizations by leaders. Another thing, leaders, because I mentioned in the beginning, leader dealing with external customers and the internal customer. The internal customer is the employee. It's very normal in the Middle East, especially in my country, to deal with multiple generation, baby boomers, millennial, and Z generation. So different generations, they have different values, they have different communication styles. So I think leader, they will face tremendous challenge in attracting and retaining the right talent. So leader, they need to be agile in order to deal with a different background of the consumer, because the employee in the organizations, they have different needs and wants. So it's very difficult to come up with the same style to deal with the same employee. I think two challenge faced by leaders in terms of the growth in consumer market, also dealing with multiple generations. I think this is the thing that organizations need to focus on those aspects when it's come to the business outlook change.
Right, right. I think that's great. I think you talked about global mindset and the agility and adaptability to not just manage different talent segments, but attract and retain the right talent as well. Man, what are
Yeah.
your views on that? What are some of the challenges that you would like to highlight in leadership development?
Uh, First, I'd like to thank you for having me. Sorry for the connecting issue, but
No worries.
leadership challenges is the core of the Middle Eastern economic visions that's running out of the Middle East, especially the GCC area, where we are in the era of revolution of developments across all pillar of the developments. So combining the economic growth with the citizen well-being, preserving their environmental is a challenging by itself for leader due to the tension and conflict interest between these two factors. So to achieve a balance between them and model sustainability. Okay, that's a challenge by itself. Leaders should rely on the facilitating the rule of the technology and human factor as well, humanizing and balancing between using of technology in the era of AI as well to get full engagement, in the return. So that's something it's very important, especially running a business and transforming it. It's a challenge by itself. I can tell you, we had many examples here. So the need to drive a top growth and operational efficiency at the same time is not an easy, but it can be achievable, transforming the
Right.
business into more agile in a sustainable model, consumer focused organizations. That's a challenge. Upskilling the people skills in this era, as we always says, the threat or the risk is not having AI replacing people. The real risk is having people who doesn't know how to use AI. So this is something very challenging to concern, but invest in the leader inside the organization and developing them. It's critical that it will be ongoing all the way. So this
Right.
is in brief.
Yeah. I think I couldn't agree more with you while saying that it's not the AI that's taking jobs, it's the people who do not know how to use AI that will miss out on it. So upskilling straight from the bottom line, from our junior staff till the leadership, is very very important, and that is sort of a challenge that Middle East is trying to invest more and more in through different initiatives, including HR technology, as we learned. And we'll come
Yeah.
back on upskilling, man. While I would like to capture Zainab's inputs here in terms of the challenges as well. Zainab, anything you'd like to share on this?
The things that actually it's not about challenges. I'm talking. I'll talk about something else, which is actually maybe later on in later stage will guide on some of the current situation that we have right now. But I'll start from the things that the organization itself. What is the organization? It's the systems, and the organization is actually you can have like a sequence of the things from the organization up to the people. So, what if actually you would like to be more into the human organization? That means you have to focus more in the humanization or the human. So this is a very basic equation. I put it to explain the things that I'm going to explain it during this webinar. Um, because there is a certain things we supposed to balance and to take in consideration to manage the people and to manage the humanization, which is most probably I would like to focus on the ethical part and also the psychological contract part, which is actually support the people there while they are doing their job. And this is supposed to be part of the systematic HR systematic process to gain more and more from the employee and to reach also to upskilling the wellness for the employee in the very let me say peace way. This is one of the insight. I'll share it now, and maybe gradually during the webinar we'll go through the concept itself.
Wonderful. I think I love that that you specifically into the
Right.
psychological history as well. So I think going to some of the to actually the factors that are impacting the need to build the right leaders, and some of them all three of you have mentioned. A lot of it stems from how external ecosystem is rapidly changing, asking us to be agile, asking us, to have a global mindset, as you mentioned, and to be at a pace with how AI is changing the world. So, according to all of that, and as you also spoke about upskilling need, what skills today, according to you, are indispensable for leaders in the Middle East, and how can HR leaders in the Middle East really ensure their leadership development programs are equipped to develop these skills effectively? Walid, would you like to talk about that?
Yeah, um, I think upskilling it's not enough. We need to have upskilling or reskilling, because I came from transformation background. I led many of M&A projects in multiple company. If you look back, at the strategy and the operating models. Normally, when the change comes, it's starting with the business strategy. So this is we're reflecting on the company operating model. So once the company operating model change, the value system will change dramatically, which require new skills. So some of the company they have their own program, which they call it upskilling and reskilling. Upskilling means that you need to upgrade the competency level of the employee in order to match with the new operating models. Reskilling, it's mean the people in the organization, they don't have the competency, so you need to reskill them from scratch to be able to matching with the new operating models. Maybe because I come from business backgrounds, most of the change starting from the strategy and the operating model, and then the HR they need to collaborate with the business to understand what are the new requirement which coming from the new strategy and the operating model. Because if I define the operating model, it is how the company captures and create and deliver the values. So to capture and create and deliver value, surely we need to have specific competency in order to be demonstrated either by the leaders or the employee in the organization. And also, I will cover this part when it's come to the question too about moving from leadership competency to value-driven organization, because most of the company now when they upgrade their corporate values, they associated with the operating model. So I will talk that I will cover this part in details when it's come to the leadership competency. But direct to your questions, to answer your question directly, yes, we need to have upskilling and reskilling, the reskilling programs, especially if the company going through a massive transformation. Because
Yep,
now
yep,
I think
absolutely.
I think it was highlighted in the report. Most of the Middle East company they are going through reform programs because some of them they are merged, some of them they changed the operating models, some of them they went globally. So this is require a new type of competency, yeah, like adopting
Right.
global mindset, yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Great, great. Man, according to you, what are the top three skills, if you have to talk about, are important for leaders in today's world?
On a specific to be, if we think is about visionaries, about thinking ahead. The future of work will bring fresh challenges to the future, to the leaders in order to achieve. So it's a continuous matter, that we need to carry on and be ready for what is coming as a challenge. So futurizing and humanizing at the same time, it's a key challenge by itself. How we could do it in a balanced way, in a very professional, elite manner. That's a key challenge by itself. But I would think of adapting the technology, adapting and make the best use of technology, getting a friendship, the partnership between human HR and IT, the technology, it's key foundations for setting the pathway of success in order to make this transformation. Leaders, if we talk about future leaders, cannot afford to lead their organizations by looking into the rear view mirror. They need to futurize uh, for their organization into the future, okay, with this strong, solid ground of upskilling the skills, challenging the status quo in the mindset of the peoples. How people they get fully engaged in using the technology. Sometimes you have to use the in this adaptations, all the kind of things, incentives, disciplinary as well. People they always prefer to sit in a comfort zone.
Yeah,
I'm still happy with the Excel sheet or things. So I think this is a very challenging part in the upskilling this and make a change happens. To be honest with you, how? in order to achieve it, make it, market it, for
Right.
employee, for the stakeholders. So sometimes it's a mix between reskilling and upskilling. It's not about matter of only development.
Yeah.
Also attract refresh talent inside the organizations. Okay, with this mindset readiness, I think
Yeah.
is something very important to
Right.
tackle.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. I think two things you mentioned about HR technology adoption, for which I think digital mindset of HR leaders is very, very important. So that is a key skill, as you mentioned, we should develop. And for HR leaders to be more agile, they need to have a business acumen as well. So I think that is one key skill for future transformation that is coming to be very, very important. Zainab, over to you. Anything you would like to share how HR leaders in today's world can ensure leadership development programs are effective to develop some of these skills?
Okay, first, I would like to mention something very important. There is a package between the leadership skills and also there is a management skills. So having this also differentiation is very important because each of this package have a separate competencies and design will be related to. And this is very important to manage the departments and then to have a leader to inspire people, for instance. And we have also the model of the leadership and the way of. The most important things that I would like to mention it is the things that is not being discussed usually, which is what is the whole brain that you would like to develop in the organization. Because this will help the organization to transform, and even though as my colleague Mr. Ma'an he was mentioned to be more futuristic. So to look into the future, we have to be very strategic, right? So we have to develop this strategic mindset in order to have the leader, those have the visionary for the future, and also taking all of the benefits of the whatever actually tools or enablers. Nowadays is the AI. Tomorrow, things that we don't know about it. So even though adaptability is supposed to be also with a balance, because maybe tomorrow maybe you will need to get rid out of this all of this, and also we don't like to focus on the AI until until we try to turn out the people to the machines. So
Yeah.
this balance that I think all of my colleagues they mentioned it. The balance is very important, and the balance that how we can open all of the windows to the people, all of the channels to the people to let them invest more in learning, right?
Yeah.
What I'm actually meaning by learning nowadays is a different because now we have a lot of information everywhere, but the things that maybe the high level of learning is not there. Connecting of information, the data literacy, this is very important. The different type of communication we're supposed to develop, and I think the AI actually giving us this hint for this era. It's because you need to have to speak a specific language to the AI to get the right result, and you need to know how to ask to know to get the right answer. So maybe we have to turn back and to learn people to teach people how to ask,
Right.
which is a very simple things to do.
Yeah.
So yes, this is what I'm actually thinking of. There is a lot of competencies we can reskill the employees for it and also upskill them for.
Yeah.
But there is a basic we're supposed to take it in consideration. This is like an infrastructure for your human being is very important, and this is actually what will help you to jump and to anticipate to the next level. This is very important for the people to grow and to
Hmm.
develop, and to returning to the things that it's going to uh, be retain or be really invest in, like
Right.
something after 5 years you can have an advantage of something
Yeah.
like that. So just to conclude that what I'm saying, having something having thing like completion in the mindset, understanding what is the necessary, going back to basic, and also reading the basic, rescaling the basic in different way, and also having the, of course, having the speciality in the competencies, and also having, let me say, the transition competency, those competencies that's you need to take you to the next level.
Yeah, yeah, wonderful. I think thank you so much for summarizing it so well, Zainab. So we talked about AI, leveraging AI in leadership development, in developing a digital mindset. But Man, you also spoke about technology adoption, and I would like to pick up on that. Our research says that in among the top investment areas in HR technologies across Middle East in 2025, over 52% of leaders are going to see a rise in investment in leadership development. So, the second way to leverage AI is to create effective leadership development programs. And I'm curious to understand from you, what are some of those ways where we can leverage technologies like AI and deep analytics to create more effective leadership programs? Would you like to touch upon that, Man?
Yes, actually, we need to tackle the mindset of the people in the organization. Build the right mindset is something very important. Business is an infinite game, you know. In order to have winning of this infinite game, you need to have infinite mindset. Okay, I like the point that Zainab was mentioning, and she, by the way, she recommended 2 years ago, I think, humanizing HR. You know, humanizing human capital to me, which one of the greatest book that inspire me. So having this part of the technology, getting the friendship, you know, with the technology, and how we could find a smart ways to tackle people engaged in using this technology. It is something very important. It's not a matter about certification, reskilling, and upskilling the people. No, no, it's beyond that. It's going to the mindset of the people to get them make the best out of use. They have to believe, you know, we always say that data is a power, but analytics will make it more powerful. But
Yes.
again, why I'm talking about the sustainability part of the mindset, the sustainable mindset, we shouldn't think only of HR. We should think of the future, what is coming ahead beyond AI, you know, beyond the use of AI, beyond the use of metaverse, you know, having also prepared to accommodate multi generations with their technical savviness built in. You know, now we have a fresh graduate came to the workplace, you know, built in ready as a technical savvy. You know, you try to co-op with them, you know, try to expedite. This is a generation where they raised up on app and application delivery, first fast deliveries, and doing everything through the technology. So how would you prepare your work place, you know, your environment, working environment, to accommodate all of those people, retain and engage them at the same time, and make them more productive, is a challenge by itself, you
Yeah.
know.
Yes, yes, and very, very well said, Man. I think I would like to also tell you we are conducting a global podcast series, Human Scope, where one of the guest speakers actually mentioned the more AI comes in, the more human we will have to become. And that really hit me hard, and that stuck with me. I think that's beautiful how we need to tap the untapped potential of human beings, the more AI will come in our lives. So I think the book that Man spoke about, that Zainab you recommended, Humanizing Human Capital, is definitely a great book and very timely for all of us to read. So I love the recommendation as well. Um, but Walid, I would like to speak with you about the some of the leadership development programs. And to Man's point, a good leadership development program also begins with a robust pipeline, right? What strategies can organizations implement to build
Hello?
a strong leadership pipeline to ensure succession planning with long-term business goals, according to you? Do you have any view on it? Any best practices that you can see? Walid, are you able to hear us?
Hello?
Yes, man, we can hear you.
Yeah.
I think there is some issue with Walid's connection. So, meanwhile, he joins. Sena, would you like to talk a little bit about the leadership pipeline here? Any strategies you would love to talk about where organizations can implement a strong leadership pipeline to ensure succession planning? How should companies strike a balance between developing leaders internally while also hiring top leaders externally as well?
Okay, this specific question, I'll answer you from the current experience that I have
Yes,
been through, which
perfect.
is with the Saudi Geological Survey. Because building a leadership um, with this, let me say, it's not a difficult, but it's actually a very rare industry, which is the geoscience. Because all of the leaders you can't find them in one place, which is this is the difficulty. All of the leaders you will find them all around the world, and then you have to prepare your own leader within the Saudi Arabia.
Yeah,
So the things that actually we first of all we develop because we have the people those have the specialty, and you also have them have a leader positions. So we develop the salary scale with the based on the two different ladder, which is the leadership ladder and the technical ladder,
yeah,
and having also the leadership with each level, with each let me say package of the competencies and skills, and also the way of um, having the movement within the organization is supposed to be all of that. Um, uh, Let me say it's like a structured. Uh, um, all of that's supposed to be coming with the whole program, which is the knowledge transfer program, intensive program, and also coming with the preparing people for the succession plan. We have a different generation, and we have a very big a gap between the generation that we have in the geoscience industry. Also having people expert to come in to feed in our pipeline is one of the things that's very important. So we have to continuous learning of the current people, preparing the generation, and also feeling and feeding the current pipeline until our internal leader, supposed to be ready. But the things, as my colleague also, Mr. Walid, mentioned, we have to think more globally with the global mindset. So even though we have to think on the specialty on the global wise. So that's why we actually built up our pipeline to be more globally effective
Yeah.
to feed us.
Sorry, I lost the connection for a while. You can hear me?
yes, Walid, we
Yes.
can
Yeah.
hear you. I'll come back to you right
Thank you,
after.
Zainab, for covering this part. Um, I wanted to highlight on something very significant when it comes to developing leadership programs. Uh, I think this is the key component of developing any leadership development programs in any organization. They need to focus on three areas, namely are leading self, leading peoples, and leading business. So let me start with the leading self, because most of the leaders in organization, they are struggling with leading self. So I think leader, if they are unable to lead themselves, they will not be able to lead the peoples. So how we can enable the people to lead their self? They need to create self awareness about themselves, about their personality type, about their strength, which is very significant. If you go to most of the organization, from my experience, they are not aware about their personality type. They are not aware about their strength theme, which is very important for them to understand before they lead the peoples. Because if they recognize their leadership styles, so they will be able to lead with different, personality types, and this is will help them to lead the peoples after manage leading themselves. Finally, which I call it leading business. Leading business is very crucial, because if they don't understand the business acumen, they don't understand the operating model and the business strategy, they will not be able to lead the peoples. So they are interconnected to each other. Let me call it, it is sequentials. We cannot start with the leading business unless leader they are capable to lead the peoples. And eventually the our let me call it as a foundational base for any leaders. They need to be able to lead themselves first, and then it will come after leading people and leading business. The other thing I would like to highlight, some of the company, they overwhelmed, the leaders with the competency. They call it competency library. I think organizations, they need to develop agile leadership model to enable the leaders to understand what is expected from them. So when they look at the model at glance, they know what is expected from them. Uh, what I prefer, based on my experience, because maybe I told you before this webinar, I wrote some of the white papers. Also, I
Yeah.
participated in some of authorship. I think the leadership, we need to move. We need to shift from leadership competency to leadership based value.
Yeah.
Sometimes they call it value driven models. Maybe I mentioned this in the beginning because I came from the business. I think the company. Let me put the responsibility on the HR peoples. The HR people, they should participate in any HR business transformation, starting with changing the operating model. When the operating model change, so the HR people, they need to be engaged in the changing the operating model, because when the operating model change, the corporate value will be impacted. Yeah. So it is interconnected with each other. So
Yeah.
if the HR people, they don't understand the operating model, they will not be able to develop a leadership model, agile leadership model associated with the operating model. So the responsibility is shared between HR and the business. So I think we need to have agile leadership model to enable the leader in the organization to understand what is expected from them. I think this is very crucial space should be taken by the HR peoples. The last things, to manage all the things that I mentioned, HR today, they need to have multiple skills. They need to talk the language of the business. They need to have business acumen. Otherwise, they will not be able to design agile leadership model.
Yeah.
So I hope that I answered the question in very structured way, because
Yeah.
I think this part should be answered in very structured manner to enable our audience who are attending this webinar to understand what is expected from leader.
Absolutely. I think you've structured the expectation really well. I think we have a question from the audience where they want to know how mature is HR in the Middle East to capture and fulfill this expectation of agile leadership. So, Man, do you want to maybe take that up, Man or Zainab? Man, are
Yes.
you able to hear us? Zainab?
Yes. Again, could you please again repeat the question?
Yes, absolutely. So Walid just talked about the need for agile leadership and the expectation for agile leadership in today's world in the Middle East. We have one of the questions from the audience where they have talked about, they have asked how mature is HR in the Middle East to develop leadership be in being agile. and what are some of the things they are doing in it?
Let me actually start with a very direct answer. The things that the insight they actually hear today is one of the things that prove that there is a maturity in the HR level of in the MENA region. So the things that actually we have been currently we um, uh, have been faced many changes. And here in Saudi Arabia, for instance, we have our vision, and we have a specific program under the vision. It's an initiative for the human capabilities. So that means actually it's been on country level, this has actually been taking a very focus and very focus and developing all of the manner related matters, which is the regulations, the all of the things that actually coming all together. I do believe that all of the business actually all of the opening the business and the new the things that's happening and the things that is also which will happen and will coming in Saudi Arabia, that is actually help to be more mature, more open to different culture, different channels, which has helped the HR to be more mature. Nowadays, I do believe that all of my friends in government or even though in the private sector, the nationalities that we have we do have within the organization. I think it's a many. So we don't have only one nationalities within the organization that we're working on. So this is all of this is helping the HR to be more mature, and also all of the things that coming on understanding the business acumen and having the HR to be a really partner of this success happening in Saudi Arabia and the government is one of these elements. Nowadays, we have a very strong leadership. We have very strong examples in Saudi Arabia in the HR model, in the transformation, change and champion and people, and most of them actually develop their own capability and within the region. So yes, there is a maturity. You will find also you find some of the challenge that the things that I do believe my colleagues they mention it, and I do believe that this challenges is happening all the time because this is it's rapidly change. It's happened. So with this a very quick change, I do believe a lot of things is supposed to be taken in consideration. So this is happening in the changing world.
Right. Great, Zainab. I think this is very, very well explained. Thank you so much for walking us through the
Yeah.
HR maturity in the Middle East. And I hope this kind of also answers our audience's question. We have Walid as well talking.
Dora,
Yes,
I would like just to emphasize on something very important. A leader in the
absolutely.
organization, they should understand it's not about what they deliver, it's about how they deliver. So that's why I
Yep.
emphasize on leadership-based values. So leader in the organization should be evaluated not solely based on what they deliver in terms of the KPI. They should be evaluated based on to what extent they demonstrate the corporate values, and this is very crucial. Yeah, that's why I highlighted repeatedly that the leadership model should be based on the corporate value, which is very important. Similar, to maybe marketer and brand manager, they understand this. It's not about what you sell; it's about how you sell to your customers. So it goes same, because we have to treat the leaders as a brand manager, because they should be a brand advocate either internally with their key stakeholder or with their own client.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. And I think those organizational or corporate values should cascade down in all the leadership and employee development programs. That's very crucial for sustainable learning experience, as Man also mentioned. So, speaking of the new leadership paradigm, it's equally important to also empower and retain leaders, not just upskill, reskill them, attract the right talent, but also retain them. And that's something we've also been hearing in Middle East is one of the top challenges, as well as attracting and retaining the top talent, including the leaders. So what are some of the ways and focus areas you see on retaining the right leaders today in the Middle East? We'll start with Zainab. Do you want to talk about this?
Okay, yes, it's very important to focus on retaining leader and having them coming, as I mentioned, in some of the organization, having the leader within the organization retain them is very important because of the type of the organization, sometimes the sensitivity of the positions. So that's why yes, we have to have to focus on that. And let me also highlight something. It's actually been agreed on high level of the country Saudi Arabia to develop the succession plan for the ministries and also all of the top leaders with the country. So the things that is very important, retaining the leader in different way, and sometimes also you have to have your own you have your own actually profile for the leader that you always emphasize on and you always actually developed. That will help also the new generation to start building up the leadership skills that you will need in the organization.
Great. Yes, that I couldn't agree more with you on this. Definitely, and I believe HR is definitely a key stakeholder in enhancing those leadership agility programs and building leaders that are role models in their company. Not just the skills but also the corporate values. Walid, any last thoughts on how to how to kind of retain those leaders who become role models in the organization?
Yeah, I think we have to have rewarding programs to be embedded in the organizations to reward, good behaviors. Maybe I mentioned in the beginning that leaders are expected to demonstrate the company values. So I think we need to have rewarding system. The rewarding system should be financial and non-financials. So we can reward it in financial manner and also in non-financial manners. And this is very, very crucial for organization to retain the talent. And one of the things that I would like to highlight also, most of the organization focus on developing well-being program for employee, but ignoring the leaders. As you know, the pressures coming, to the leaders. So they have to have well-being program to help them to, manage the workload and the pressure that they experience from time to time. Especially now, most of the Middle East country, they are going through a massive transformation, which require, high level of commitment, and it is time consuming for the leaders. So they spend most of the time in the organization. So if they don't have well-being in place, customized for the leader, I think this is it will impact, the people's let me call it the attrition rate will be increased dramatically, because if they don't have rewarding system, very well structured rewarding system to retain and attract the leaders in the organization, I think they will face a lot of troubles in the organization. Another thing, um, maybe I mentioned in the beginning, maybe but I have not emphasized well. Leader, they need to have their own life coach. Yeah. So we need to differentiate between coach and mentor. Coach, it will help you to overcome the challenge that you face in your life, either in the work or when it's come to the family perspective. So it's very important. But most of the leader, they ignore the importance of selecting a life coach. So most of the life coach, they have the capability to coach, the leaders, to help them to deal with the small things. Sometimes small things, create big problem for the leaders. So having life
Absolutely.
coach is very crucial. Mentor,
Yeah.
it's something different, because people, they mix between coach and mentors,
Right.
especially the leaders. Mentors, he will help you to understand, the thing that related to your work, especially the technicalities and how he or she run the business. So having two persons, coach and mentor, I think it will be like uh, reliever for the leaders, to deal with the pressure that they are experiencing, especially with the massive transformation that we are witnessing in the Middle East, especially in my country. So, in brief, I recommend to have three things: well-being programs, well customized for the leaders. Each leaders, either male or female, they supposed to have their own life coach, and not forgetting that mentorship, it's very crucial for them. Thank you.
Great. I think,
That's
very well summarized, Walid and Zanab. Thank you so much for your inputs. We are already over time, but I think we've had a very super engaging and important conversation. So I didn't want to stop us. Thank you so much for the amazing insights that you all have presented, Man, as well. I think he's facing some network issues. So, in the interest of time for our audience, I would like to summarize three key takeaways from our conversation. Number one, how leadership development across Middle East remains a top priority for HR leaders and faces multiple challenges that HR needs to address through skills like global mindset, digital mindset, agility, and technology adoption effectiveness. Number two, leading self, people, and business aligned with corporate values are important aspects of sustainable leadership development, and technologies like AI and analytics are becoming major part of how leadership pipeline is created and development programs are being improved in the Middle East. And number three is how HR is a key stakeholder in enhancing leadership agility and building leaders that go on to become role models in their companies. So, for that, rewarding leaders with monetary and non-monetary ways, including well-being, and encouraging them to have a coach are crucial in retaining them to become role models in their organizations. We will also have all these three takeaways in our comment section for you to have clear and crisp takeaways. And this webinar will also have a life of its own on our website where you can see a replay of it in case you've missed out, any sections, any parts of the webinar today. Um, but overall, thank you so much again for your time in listening to our esteemed speakers. And Walid and Senab, thank you so much for your time
mostly.
again today. It was a wonderful conversation, and we look forward to speaking with you soon. Have a good
Yeah.
rest of the day, everyone.
Thank you very much.
Thank you so much.